Welcome to the Genshin Impact Anniversary Awards. Wait, no, we should probably redo that.
This is the Yearly Genshin Awards, where I give out accolades to the best of the best in Genshin's first year, and the worst of the worst. Today I'm going to be giving out awards to the best and worst patches of the year, but stick around on my channel though for the continuation of these awards, as this is only part 1, so subscribe to see those. So let's get started with our first categories, which are best and worst patches of the year. This will range from patch 1.1 all the way to patch 2.3, and it'll be looking at what the patches added in a holistic sense. So what new features or quests or areas did they add? So let's start with the third worst patch in the first year of Genshin. Honestly, Genshin Impact doesn't, in retrospect, have a lot of bad patches. Most patches include a great addition to the game, whether that be a change to the world or interesting new systems. Genshin is almost always innovating itself, except with in-game. That's terrible. But I think there are a few patches that are undoubtedly worse than others, so let's begin with the third worst patch in Genshin's first year, which is Patch 1.3. Patch 1.3 is the Lantern Rite patch, and while I enjoyed it in the moment, there's a lot here that's just not the best. The events that we got during the patch all revolved around the festival itself, which is a cool idea, but the actual events themselves were really monotonous. It was a bunch of go here, talk to this person, go here, talk to this person, go here, find the chest. The standouts in this patch are the way Liyue Harbor looks, the rewards like choosing a 4-star, and the fun theater mechanicus. But those aren't going to save an otherwise pretty boring patch. So I'm giving it our first award, which will be the Bronze Titty Nerf Award. Some people are fine with it, some hate it, but most people forgot about it after a few days. The second worst patch is our current one. Now, don't get me wrong, patch 2.3 has a great event, one of, if not my favorite story events in the game. However, that's kind of all we got. Besides the inclusion of Itto, there really isn't much here that's different. It's a really business as usual patch, with a bunch of rerun events. While we got new artifacts, they're not in a newly explorable area, and while this doesn't affect my rating, I think that a lot of players are really wanting something new and permanent to the game that involves some combat. So to release this patch while players are already fatigued with the current game state just makes this worse to me. Again, it doesn't affect the rating, but it should still be addressed. And after a string of some pretty great patches, it's clear that this is one of the most filler patches that we've gotten in the game to date. So I give this patch the Silver In-Game Award. Wait, where's the award? Before we get into the worst patch, let's do the third best patch in the game. Now, Genshin has some fantastic patches, ones that include a ton of content and great events and systems, so these were fairly difficult to choose a top 3 for, but the third best patch in Genshin Impact is Patch 1.2. The Dragonspine patch introduced us to what Genshin can do. It added a completely new area to the game with a ton to do. Not only that, it introduced another fun story quest with a great free weapon. The area is what really pushes this one to 3 for me though. There's a lot of care put into Dragonspine, and while people have complained that they really never return here, which is valid, I still think that it doesn't change that the initial exploration and release of this region was fantastic. I don't think it can be understated that without a patch like this one, I think a lot of players would have left the game a lot earlier. But this patch really was the first that proved that Genshin was an expanding world. So this patch gets the Bronze Spiral Abyss Award. Most people like it, even though they don't want to redo it all the time. The second best patch is patch 1.6. This is the Golden Apple Archipelago patch, and I can see this being kinda contentious. I mean, almost all of the content in this patch went away, besides those outfits. The only 2 in the game. Still, after 6 months. So this patch didn't really have a lot of permanent content, but I absolutely think that it made up for it with the area itself. The story is fun, lighthearted, and had multiple main characters in it, and the feeling of sailing between the islands on the new ship was just fantastic. It really is a great area, and the events attached were pretty fun too. Again, the events nudge into the minigame for the sake of minigame territory, but I like that most of the events incorporated the new boat into them. Overall, I think that this patch is one of the most well-rounded we've ever gotten, and even though most of the content is gone, I still can't overlook that. So, patch 1.6 gets the Silver Timmy's Pigeons Award. Gone, but not forgotten. Alright, so it's time for our best and worst patches of the year. Let's start with the worst. And you've probably guessed it by now, but it's patch 1.4. Patch 1.4 is a truly odd one. I really see what they were trying to do with this patch, and I kinda commend it. A patch all dedicated to a fun festival with different minigames and co-op opportunities. A true patch that's dedicated to the multiplayer experience of the game. You know, the experience that doesn't really exist in the base game. And that's what makes this patch so bad, in my opinion. While the events are fun, especially the Fall Guys-esque Wonderland, it also just feels absolutely jarring in an essentially single-player experience of a game. The design up to this patch, and absolutely after, almost exclusively, to a fault, focuses on single-player exploration with some combat thrown in. So to go for essentially 6 weeks with minigames and balloon popping and fucking falling to your death, it just felt really off, even though it was fun at times. Again, one of Genshin's biggest faults, besides its endgame, is its co-op. I'd honestly say it might be in a worse state than the endgame. At least the endgame exists in some sense. Co-op basically doesn't. So while I don't think the events were bad, I just think that having a multiplayer patch randomly in essentially a single player game is like having, I don't know, Animal Crossing randomly having a segment where you fucking kill God or something. So because of that, this patch gets a golden shit and Paimon's dookie ass diapies. That's the worst patch. So then what's the best? I mean, you've probably already guessed it. It's patch 2.0, obviously. What can I say about patch 2.0? It fucking rocked. It's like patch 1.2 and patch 1.6 had a baby, but like kept the baby and actually raised it to become a functioning, productive member of society. Unlike me. Inazuma is absolutely gorgeous. As much as the game falters from time to time, this patch shows that there's really not going to be a competition to Genshin in terms of the exploration and identity. This region is jam-packed with fun content, with great side quests, awesome lore, interesting introductions to characters, and a ton of fun secrets. Genshin Impact's gameplay has kind of been all over the place. And the reason I said patch 1.4 is the worst is the same reason why I think that 2.0 is the best. This leans into everything that Genshin has built up upon its release, the sense of exploration and making the player feel like they're actually in a world where they can explore wherever the eye can see. And that's just the exploration. This patch still brought back the best thing about Lantern Rite, added true pity to weapon banners, even though it's still not amazing, and so much more. Obviously, every patch of Genshin can't be like this, and there will always be odd decisions, but if there's one patch that really proves why Genshin is worth someone's time, it's patch 2.0. So it gets the golden Zhongli Award. He's still fucking zaddy as a statue. Oh yeah! So those are the best and worst patches of the year. What do you think? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Do you hate me? Jesus, chill. So let me know your top 3 for both best and worst patches of the game, and also let me know what else you want to see. So obviously this is just part 1, and if you want to see the rest, you can subscribe to get notified when those parts come out. You can also check out my huge video over the timeline of everything that's happened in Genshin Impact. You can also like this video, and regardless of what you do, thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.